2, 1.
Welcome back to Tuesday Morning Coffee
Yes.
with Joe and Krista on RVN TV. This is like a guest-packed show today.
Yes, it is. And you know, one of my favorite things is the Expert Series that I do with Workcred, which is basically, Krista, it's looking at alternative education compared to like a four-year degree or something.
I love that.
And that's what we've always been doing for the last couple of years with Workcred, which the gentleman on the right there is Roy Swift, who's Executive Director of Workcred. And he always brings these great guests with me to talk about certification and credentialing. And we have a guest today, that Carey Vermeulen, which is basically from the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration. So welcome, gentlemen, to this session of Morning Coffee.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Roy Swift, and I'm the Executive Director of Workcred. And we're happy to bring various people to this expert series because certifications, even though people may talk about them, most of the general public many times are very unaware of credentials that really can help people get jobs and in a short period of time and be able to even look at career pathways in this space, because most of the time people are saying, well, that's a dead-end street for that particular credential. I'm very proud that Carey is with us today and representing his organization in an area that too often we don't know a lot about, but Carey's going to inform us and let us know what a wonderful area of a career that this can be.
Well, Carey, please introduce yourself and your organization to my viewers, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Thank you, Joe. I'm Carey Vermeulen, and I'm chairman of the board for the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration certification, which has been around since 1972. Primarily at that time, it was for carpet and upholstery cleaning certification. Well, it's grown immensely over the past 50-odd years, and now has almost 60,000 certified people in the field, with almost 7,000 certified companies. So, and the certifications range from the original carpet and upholstery cleaning, but now, you know, with the advent of hard surface flooring, laminate flooring, vinyl plank flooring, the emphasis is still there for carpet, but it's also grown into those other fields and has certifications revolving around new types of flooring. And then it goes beyond that. It goes way beyond that. It has a standard and certification for trauma and crime scene cleanup, a standard, and that being the standard right there. You notice the ANSI accreditation on the label. We're an accredited standards developing organization with ANSI, or at least under their program. And we have mold remediation, we have water damage restoration, and standards that go along with those disciplines. And exciting news, we're coming up soon with a standard for fire and smoke restoration. And that'll be followed by a standard for wildfire investigations of buildings. So a lot of good things happening. The fire standards, the two of them, have never really been published before by anybody for the actual trades, the folks that are doing the work.
I want to bring up something that Carey just mentioned that's so important. You know, you always hear this jingle about look for the union label. This is look for the ANSI label. People who have gone through a very rigorous process to have their certification recognized. And too often, there are over 8,000, they think, no one knows for sure, certifications in this country, but only probably about 15 to 20% have third-party review under an international standard, an ISO standard, and so creating of standards is an important element, and it helps the general public not have to figure out so much about, well, is this a quality credential? If you see that a third party has gone through and recognized a certification, you can be much more assured that indeed that credential is going to get you a living wage and a good job.
Carey, take us through the certification process so people can understand that. If you want to be certified, let's say in house cleaning or something, how does that process work?
Well, there's IICRC, our acronym for our name, because it is a mouthful. There's approved schools that teach that discipline with approved instructors. They go through a rigorous application process to get approved, and an individual can register for a class, and sometimes our classes are available by Zoom, live streaming. Sometimes they're required to be in person. But that individual would register with that independent school, so there is separation from the IICRC and the actual provider. But they go through an approval process to make sure they're qualified. And that student can sign up for a 1 or 2 or 3 day class and take it and write an exam and get that certificate. So that certification in that area. So it's easily attainable for the general public if they're inclined to want to learn all these different disciplines, which are primarily unregulated, right? That's where we fit in. These are all unregulated trades, that services that are critical to the public and just not regulated by the government.
You said that they're in approved schools. Are these like specialty schools, or will you find this in like community colleges? Where are most of the programs?
Well, they're independent schools, so it may just be a manufacturer that has produces a product or a machine or a type of equipment or a cleaning chemical or disinfectant. Some of them are approved schools. Then you have independent individuals who can apply to be an approved school and may employ 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 instructors who also go through an approval process. The schools are listed on the IICRC website, iicrc.org. And if you click on certifications on that website, it brings up all the different disciplines and where these classes are being held, either by live stream or in person, or potentially a hybrid class where there's both taking place. It's really opened up the availability of these classes. Having gone through the pandemic and created live stream training in about a month, most everybody jumped on board.
You know, Carey, when we talked before, we met you before online, we were talking about the time frame of getting these certifications, which I thought was so important, because you're talking about a couple of days rather than weeks, months, or years, which is so important for people who want to change their jobs or whatever, right?
It's really critical, and the services, like I said, they're in demand by the general public. Mm-hmm. Think about when there's storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, God worse off, and wildfires, and people have damage to their homes. Using an IICRC certified technician or certified firm gives them some reassurance that the work is going to be done according to, most of the time, an industry approved standard, which are, again, like Roy mentioned, ANSI accredited. Mm-hmm. So it does bring some value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is that I think it is really a growing area since the pandemic, because people are far more aware of things that are happening, on cleaning in general. And especially, like, take house cleaning, for instance. I mean, more people are getting their house clean and stuff, and they want to make sure that people come in there with the right chemicals, with the right things, so that they're going to be, really odor-free and germ-free. Yeah. And that's something that you're really addressing, correct?
That is correct. We have those types of certifications. I think the pandemic, like you said, Joe, the pandemic really shone a light on it, where people were now all of a sudden much more aware of their surroundings, their own personal environments where they live, and now we're genuinely concerned about how clean, how safe is this. Mm-hmm. So bringing in certified people brings that reassurance, and there's several of our courses that deal with true disinfection of surfaces, and although they can't guarantee unless they start doing sampling, but the process to achieve a surface and an approved, government approved disinfectant, they know how to apply them. They know the process of how to do it, to clean the surface, apply the disinfectant, wait for the dwell time, rinse it off, and that's probably as clean as you're going to get a surface. So it is a great service. When people were going through the pandemic, people had, a business may have had an employee that all of a sudden came down with COVID-19, and they were calling IICRC certified people to go in and take care and clean their offices and the surfaces where they made contact, so on and so forth.
Speak a little bit about restoration too. That's something that again is important and people don't realize.
Yeah, the restoration side of it, I mean, that grew really from the cleaning side when firms that were approved to teach or provide cleaning services, like carpet cleaning companies, for instance, a lot of them had the same equipment that's required to do water extraction, and a lot of them became restoration contractors. And when you have a water damage in your structure, if it is not dried properly and mitigated properly, then you have a really good chance that mold might grow. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's going to bring on all kinds of other issues, health-related issues, deterioration of the building itself, structural materials start to deteriorate. So it's really critical that the people that are picked to do these services know what they're doing. Now, the insurance industry has picked up on this for the last 30 years, 35, 40 years. So the insurance carriers, they require IICRC certification to do water damage in their insured's buildings. So if you were to have a damage like this in your house, you have a water intrusion, and you call your insurance company, but the people that show up are typically IICRC certified. So they caught on. The general public doesn't know a lot about that. Different levels of government, we're making inroads with them. We have an advocacy, a sort of a department that does advocacy with different levels of government for the recognition of our standards for water damage, for mold, for trauma scene cleanup. And they're catching on. We have some states that are now listing it in their legislation that's the document to go to. And that's the strength of having the ANSI accreditation, because most levels of government know about ANSI.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's that badge of courage and quality, so to speak. And Joe, the thing about this particular credential, we have a real issue with high school graduates not knowing what they want to do in life. And this is a quick way to at least explore some of their interests and skills to be able to sustain themselves in this way. We in the United States have got to do more of this type of thing, of educating parents and young people about what the many opportunities are that really does help them get a living wage and be able to support themselves. And it may be that they make that a career. And this is also the area where a lot of entrepreneurship can occur. They can create a small business with having these certifications, then have their people certified. So the many multitude and avenues for something like this, people do not have a great understanding, but it has great potential.
I happen to be the mother. I happen to be the mother of one of those senior in high school that does not know what he wants to do. So this is
well, maybe this is the area.
You never know. Yep.
There's definitely the possibility of a career path and or business ownership, because the certifications are easy to get, and if there's a little bit of business sense or entrepreneurship the individual has, it's not hard to create a business and actually have a viable service that is well sought after.
And let's not forget the cost savings of going to a 4-year school or even a 2-year school to go find a career. So that's the best part, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about the Expert Series is people like you bring people to our attention, Roy, of these alternative situations where people can get a great living, and the time frame is so important too, because you can do it very, very quickly, and again, and it is cost effective too. So we're at the point of the program as usual. We're going to ask you to look into the camera there and tell our viewers how they can reach you and who should call you.
Well, the easiest way is to go to the IICRC website, iicrc.org, and all the information is there. The website's pretty comprehensive and is easy to navigate for most people. And like I said, it's all there, right down to the class schedule. It's seamless. They don't even have to really pick up the phone to find out all the information. And there's different sections. There is a section on certifications. There's a section on the standards and understanding standards, why we have standards, what ANSI is, and there's research information there too that's been documented that delves into water damage and hurricane type of damage and wildfire type of damage. And the IICRC website, iicrc.org, is the best way.
And how about Workcred, Roy?
Well, Workcred is certainly designed to look at helping people understand where there are certifications of quality and being able to recognize this. One of the things that Carey talked about was that the education is firewalled away from the certification, because the certification is a third-party attestation that competencies have been achieved. When you integrate education and certification together, there is a tendency for the education and training people to teach to the test, as we talk about. Right. So that's why they keep the separation, because certification is third party. Somebody who has no invested interest, objective, impartial, has said, these people have the competencies that you need. That's why it's really important to understand whether the certification has been recognized by a third party, because then you are much more assured that they have kept that separation from education and certification, so that the consumer is much more assured that indeed, and in certification, certifications can be taken away.
Roy,
also.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You have to wrap.
When they are given because the credential is owned by the certification body.
Right.
And so if somebody has done something that would cause them to
Roy?
Right. We have to wrap right now.
Yeah.
We're out of time. We have to wrap. So I just wanted to thank both of you for being here and everything.
Yeah.
And we will do this again next month.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Sorry it went too long.
That's
quite all
okay.
right.
Join us next week with more Morning Coffee on RVN TV. Have a great week.
Right.